Artificial intelligence has projected some fantastic benefits, and yet we hear ominous rumblings in the background, warnings about a brave new world. It's a world where computers outpace and outperform humans in repetitive tasks, analysis, and perhaps even creative work. So the question is there any job or profession that is safe in this new AI world? My name is Jim Connor. Welcome to Game Changers Silicon Valley. Tonight's show will discuss the concept of artificial intelligence, how it works, the promised benefits, and some of the unintended risks. My guests are Noor Akbari, CEO and co-founder of Roslyn AI, and Dr. Ronald Weissman, chairman of the software group at the Band of Angels. Noor and Ron, welcome to the show. So Noor, I've been looking forward to this conversation because I, like many others, are a bit perplexed about what does AI really mean in these various apps and so on. There's pure AI and there's application AI. I'd like to start with asking you to give us an overview of your application and why you decided to embed AI into it.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. Our application prevents cheating in exams, and we use AI and computer vision to make exams very, very scalable and secure. As the world moves toward online and education becomes online, there's a need for exams to be delivered online and across the world, and the current solution of physical test centers are no longer a viable option. Our application allows companies, universities to test people across the world at the test taker's home or office, online and on demand, anytime and anywhere.
So let me just ask a little more about that then. I have the impression now, as we talk, this is a certification test. That's your big market right now. Would this also be a qualification for or qualify as an entrance exam or a qualification to attend a university or pursue some topic?
Yes, absolutely. Our application can be used for any exam that needs to be secured. It can be a certification exam, entrance exam, a standardized test, a gatekeeper exam that's mostly used in countries like India to hire people, higher education. Even your driver's license test could be secured using our application. Instead of going to DMV, you could take the test at home in a secure manner.
Very good, thank you. So Ron, welcome, nice to see you. I've known you for a few years, and I'm delighted to have your perspective on this show here about artificial intelligence. And I'd like to ask you to give our audience a little overview of your background and how you've been involved in evaluating companies for investment in the AI sector.
Sure. First, I'd like to say, I wish I had your software when I was a college professor. It would have made life so much easier. I have been a venture capitalist for about 17 years with a global firm. About 12 years ago, I joined the Band of Angels and run the software group for that. And my primary interest for a long time has been analytics and AI.
Mm-hmm. Do you currently have any AI firms that you're considering or you're already invested in?
Oh, I'm looking right now at several. One is in the electronic medical records field. One is in the fashion and design area. So I'm trying to diversify what we look at. But I think that this coming year is going to be, for me, the year of AI deals.
Good. So Noor, back to you then. So we had a meeting, and you told me a little bit about that. The world of certifications is expanding rapidly, and Red Hat software is doing all this testing all over the world, and it's just not effective for them to, cost-effective for them to test 1,000 people here and 5,000 people there, and that there's actually a fair amount of potential cheating that goes on. Everything from people using cell phones to send out the question, get the answer back, to perhaps bribing the official in charge of the proctoring the exam. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So our customers are mostly big software companies that want to certify people across the world in their technology, and that's how they increase product adoption. So they, in order for their product to be adopted widely across the world, they need to have certified professionals, and they need to ensure that those professionals that they test and that test has integrity. If people cheat in those certification exams, these companies end up with unqualified people in their community of developers, and that affects the company's reputation, and it also affects them financially because they will have to deal with customers that cannot implement their software.
Okay, so what are if I'm going to take a test and be certified to do some type of IT function, I'm going to do this in my home. Let's just say that's correct. I would do it in my home. How do you know that I don't have my best friend standing there flashing me the answers, or I don't have a book open here or some other search to give you the right answer? Is there some technique you've found to capture this experience and analyze it?
Absolutely. The evolution of AI and computer vision and the software technology in general allows us to conduct exams securely at home. It used to be only possible in a test center setting, but now we use test takers' webcam, microphone, a secondary device like a phone to monitor them. And then our technology, our computer vision technology, looks for cheating behavior, whether it's collaboration, test taker reading something off camera. We track their eye pupil if they're reading something off camera, or if they're interacting with anything else with their phone. Our computer vision can detect that phone, and if we see a threat to the content, if they're trying to steal the content, the exam will be stopped right there and then. But if they're cheating, that cheating will be detected and flagged once the test is completed.
So is this mostly relating to computer vision, or do you also have some AI work that does analytics?
We do have AI that does analytics. The computer vision detects a secondary person in the room. If for example, if they're using a phone or another device that they interact with, we detect those unauthorized objects. And then we have a machine learning model that we show what a cheating behavior looks like, and then the machine learning applies that and detects future behavior that is similar.
So, go ahead.
May I ask a follow-on question?
One
of the hottest things in AI right now is called XAI, explainable AI, which says if you're making a decision about a human person's career or health, and that is an adverse decision, you need to be able to explain how you got there. So, does your AI explain itself to that test taker who you've just accused of cheating?
Absolutely. So the way we explain that, we detect certain violations in the exam. Meaning, if somebody else is helping the person, and we detect another person in the camera, or if the test taker is playing with the phone or taking a picture of the content, things like that is detected. If the test taker shows other behavior, like reading off camera but answering a particularly hard question 5 times faster than the average, then we detect that and detect the eye pupil movement along with the speed of the answer, and we present it to our human arbiters. And that's our human arbiter looks at it and make a determination whether somebody is cheating or not.
Is your human arbiter from the client company that you're doing the testing for?
It depends. If it's a large company like Google or Red Hat, they would have in-house people making that decision. But for smaller companies, we have human arbiters that make that decision for them.
And my last question in this area is, do you give a confidence level of the cheating behavior? Like there's a 50% confidence level, we're seeing some type of behavior that doesn't show integrity, we'll say that.
That is correct. Yeah, so we do give a probability score.
Probability.
If somebody, if certain behavior is associated with cheating, and if those behavior are detected, the probability goes up. But if somebody is, another person is in the room but not helping him, but we still detect that person, the probability goes down.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ron, you're known for having deep domain and analytical skills. What's your gut level of this type of application? Does it have a big enough market, or do you think he's solving a problem in an adequate way?
He's solving a very, very good problem, and I think the fact that he's picked industry as opposed to higher ed as a primary market to focus on makes an enormous amount of sense, because why sell to a market that doesn't have a lot of money? Certification, as you said, is mission critical. But I can think of other applications for what you're doing, ranging from intrusion detection for perimeter security to fraud, to what's going on inside, for example, asset management. With companies with lots of assets, whether they're automobiles or whether there's cash in a bank. So I can see lots of ways that this monitoring system could add value.
Absolutely.
What are some of the examples or use cases you've already experienced? Have you found some cheating? Have you done? Can you give us a couple examples?
It is very, very fun, actually. We come across a lot of cheating, more than we expected, and very, very interesting and sophisticated cheating behavior. One example I can give is we tested a gentleman in Africa. We were testing them for his Swahili skills. What we found was that there was a person in the background singing, while as soon as that person finished singing, he would type really fast. So our computer system detected that, and we brought in a Swahili linguist to translate that song, because it was actually the answers that he was singing. And the way he was doing that was he had a phone in his pocket, and the camera was showing, he was streaming the screen to that person, and that person was basically looking at the screen and singing the answers. Mm-hmm. Those are some of the sophisticated things we can detect that a human proctor cannot detect, or cannot be detected in a test center environment.
What are the, let me ask you a question. What are the consequences of that violation? Do you say you're done, or you failed, or you never come back, or do you give them a mark on their record, or or do they get a chance to come back and maybe redeem themselves?
That depends on our client and the policy that they have. So we report the violation, and then they determine whether that violation is something that they can that warrants them to be banned from taking an exam again, or whether they want to allow them to come back. In our case, it was government. It was pretty strict, and that person was banned from taking the exam.
If I were looking at you as a potential investment, I would want to know the before and after. I want to know what difference you make, particularly what's the aha moment for the customer? Oh, I have to have this. So do you have any kind of quantified results that says that cheating went down by 3% once we put our system in, anything like that?
Yes, we do, but the aha moment for our customer is actually us allowing them to scale up. Currently, for example, one of the customers we work with, Red Hat, has human proctors in 3 time zones watching people via a Skype-like application. When they came across us, they're very excited, and the aha moment is that we allow them to eliminate that 95% of their proctoring workforce. They do 60,000 tests, 180,000 hours, and that's all watched by humans. And their threshold, their acceptance criteria for us is whether we can meet the security of a human proctor, which is a very low threshold for us. We detect much more than a human can.
You know, when I was doing work many years ago with the intelligence community using text analytics, what we found was that people were really great at 8 in the morning, and by 5 in the afternoon they were tired, they were hungry, and their ability to classify things went way down. So I assume that there is a uniformity, a consistency,
yes,
that adds to that, as opposed to proctoring by hand.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it also is that the human proctor is usually watching 5 or 6 or 10 people at a time, where our application is one-to-one and in a much more detailed manner.
What do you miss? What don't you do well?
We do everything. We compare ourselves to the human proctor, and we do everything better than a human can. Whether it's detecting objects, camera in the background, whether it's eye movement, whether it's collaboration, we do it better than humans can as of right now. So.
Okay, so you're from Columbus, Ohio. How did you get started in Columbus?
Yeah, so when I immigrated from Afghanistan to the U.S., I first came to Nebraska, and then I got a job in Columbus with my previous employer, which is our current customer as well. I joined that company as a head of their language testing, where we delivered exams to find linguists for the U.S. government, and that's how I came across the problem and tried to solve that problem. We created Rosalind. So to join that company, I moved to Ohio.
And how long ago was that?
It was in 2008. Early 2008.
So I've heard that Columbus is a bit of a hotspot for the entrepreneurial activities in Ohio, and Ohio has a matching tech fund that they do fund people. Is that your experience, that there's quite a bit of support in Columbus for
That
startups?
is correct. It's increasingly becoming startup friendly, and we see a more robust ecosystem. There are some big tech companies moving into Columbus, and Columbus is a university town, so tech is...
For people who don't know, it's an Ohio State town, right?
Yes, it's an Ohio State town, that's correct.
Are they producing enough data scientists for you?
Our tech center is in Sweden, but yes, Columbus is becoming a startup and tech center. So
I want to ask you a question. I want Ron to also follow up on it, which is, so you came to Silicon Valley from Columbus, from Ohio. What was your mission out here? How well has it gone? And then I'll ask you to give an assessment of his results.
We joined an incredibly good program for startups, and that's called Alchemist. And they have been helping us pinpoint a market and avoid some of the mistakes that startup companies make at the early stages. So. Our mission currently is fundraising. We graduated Alchemist. We did our demo day presentation in front of investors, and then now over the last 2 weeks have been meeting with numerous investors to try to raise funds.
What do you think of that concept?
We regularly look at the graduating classes from Alchemist. I think Balani does a very good job, and in fact, a couple of the deals we're looking at right now, one I'm looking at right now, came from Alchemist. So I think you joined a great program. The question now is, can they put you in front of all the right people, both customers and potential investors? And my guess is they can.
Yes, no, absolutely. They have helped us a lot, and we have been meeting with VCs 15 to 20 meetings a week for the last 3 weeks. So it has been.
Are these unique meetings or revisits?
Some of them are revisits. Some of them are unique meetings. So yeah.
Good.
Well, they say that typically to get funding today, you need about 50 cold meetings, and it takes about 3 months from their first meeting to that final check. So hang on, be prepared. But it sounds like you're doing all the right things, and the number of meetings you're getting is indicative that you really got something.
Yes. No, we have been overwhelmed by the response, and we are learning in each meeting and iterating our pitch and our presentation. Good.
A couple final points. What should we look for from you in the future?
Well, you should look for the Rosalind logo at any tests that you or your children or your colleagues may take that will be secured by Rosalind, and look forward to the increased academic integrity with our technology.
Great. And Ron, are you taking on any new projects in terms of this AI, or are you maintaining your status quo as an active investor?
It's pretty much status quo, but there are a whole bunch of new areas I'm very excited about where I'll be delving in this coming year. In the area of situational awareness, in the area of effective emotional computing.
You mentioned it to me about this AI emotional awareness app, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the hottest areas to make AI more human.
Well, let me ask you to give our audience a way to follow up with the company. I'll ask both of you, but go ahead, company's website or your email, whichever you prefer.
Folks can get a hold of me via my email. It's noor@rosalind.ai. My phone number as well.
Okay, fine. And Ron?
And I'm Weissman, Weissman, @bandangels.com. And companies interested in taking a look at us as a potential investment vehicle, www.bandangels.com.
That's great. Well, I want to thank both of you for being here tonight. I really enjoyed it. I loved learning about AI from a developer, and I love having you here, Ron, as a very active investor who can give some real feedback to the entrepreneurs. So once again, thanks so much for coming here and being a part of the show, and I look forward and I wish you every success going forward.
Thank you for the opportunity, Jim.
Thank you. This is Jim Connor. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Game Changers Silicon Valley. Each week we'll address an area of innovation that may emerge as a game changer of tomorrow. You can subscribe to the shows at gamechangers.tv. We look forward to your continued interest and participation in upcoming shows.